Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're working on sleeve with gathered hole. The book says, a design for a close-fitting sleeve with volume only in the top section of the sleeve. Visualize the finished silhouette or the sleeve to determine how much fullness might be added to the pattern. The finished sleeve looks like a flower. It's quite wearable. If you want to follow me, you can download the bodice block in PDF or CLO format or a CLO3D project file. See the Gumroad link in the video description. If you're interested in CLO and 3D prototyping and want to learn more, I have a course for beginners on Udemy you might be interested in. You will find the link to the course in the video description. So let's get started. Welcome back everyone. Today we're working on the gathered sleeve project. Let's start. First of all, we'll create the pattern piece and we'll begin drafting a base. Sleeve head is 14.5 centimeters tall, so I'll just offset this line to create it. Next, we need to create these diagonal lines. The back one is the length of the back arm side plus 1. I'll just place a point somewhere in the middle and go to measure my back arm side. 20.8, so 21.8. Let's mark it. Great. And the front is just as is. Let's measure this. 1945. Fantastic. Now I will draw a vertical line. The length of the sleeve is 55. So I should probably make sure that my sleeve is 55 centimeters long. Much better. Here we are. Now let's do these parts. So as we remember, this diagonal line is split into 4 and then parts of them raised by 2, lowered by 1.5 and here by 1. I will split these pattern pieces. Into 4 pieces. And after that I will create these lines. So the easiest way is to create a perpendicular line. Two centimeters. Another 2. Now this one we have to actually look at this little part here, so not yet. 1 centimeter here. And now let's see what's happening here. So this part is split into 2 and this here is the half, right? But we can see that although it's here at the half, then the line is moved by 1 centimeter below, and this is where the sleeve head is curving inwards. So let's just move these 2 points. So I assume if that moves, this one moves as well. So we'll just move them down by 1 centimeter. Great, and now this can be curved inwards, but by 1.5 centimeters. Now these things are done. Let's create the sleeve head. As you remember, this is very easily done with my trusty curve tool. we just make sure that all the points touch our guidelines like that, maybe a little bit curvier. No, not curvier. No, actually it doesn't have to be in the middle. Okay, that's great because it looks better without it. Okay, and this one is at 1.5 and it has to curve at this point. Here's the sleeve head. Looking very nice. Great. Next part is marking the elbow line. So this time it's much easier because it's marked here on the image, 16 centimeters below the bicep line. And it's done. Very good. Now we'll draw these vertical lines. So it looks like there will be four of the lines. So this part is split into two equal parts, and this one as well. So I will shorten this line to here to make it easier. Then I will add a point, and then I will split each of these parts into two. And draw vertical lines all the way to the bottom. These are the lines. Now, next step. We'll see that here is some sort of amount that we're not sure yet of. 0.5 centimeter, 0.5, 11, and 1. Well, that's easy. What we'll do is, first of all, create this line here. So it has to be curved inwards, 0.5 centimeter. Oh. So I'll add a point and then curve it inwards by 0.5. And after that, it's curving outwards by another 0.5. Now, from this point is 11 centimeter line. It goes somewhere to that point there. Okay. I'll probably create an internal ellipse. That probably will be easier. 11. Okay, so somewhere on this line we have this point here, right? And then it extended by 1 centimeter. So let me take this line here. As we know, it looks like it's bends right at the bicep line, so just here. And I will move it towards here and then extend it by 1 centimeter. And after that, I'll be able to remove this internal ellipse and create a line joining these 2 points. But I want it to be perpendicular, as you can see here. So I will create a perpendicular internal line and I'll make it 11 centimeters. Almost hit it. Let me lower it slightly. Great. And then it's sort of curved inwards slightly as well, so I'll do that. Great. So that's done. 0.5, 11, and and 1 centimeter here. Do you remember that line was split into 2 here? So we will restore this little vertical line, and then we have to split this distance here into 2. and this is where the elbow line should be. So I'll take that point and I will move it here. And now we get this, oh, hold on, not all of them, just this point. Like this. And this is where it is. Now it breaks here, so let me just straighten it out, and here we are. So as you can see, oh, there's one more thing. We have to continue this lines all the way to the top until it intersects with the sleeve head curve. Like this. And now we have our sleeve. Here's the first part done. So the next part is right here. Now we have to develop this sleeve. We have to create this circular part and also lower the bicep line by 2.5 and create this hole. So I'll just leave this one in place here because we'll have to go back to it, I'm sure of it, and just create a copy and work with this copy. So it looks like I have to do all these things, so I need a bit more room. I will offset these edges to give me some space. Now I don't need this here, but I do need a little bit of here, like that. So what do we need to do? It looks like we need only this outline of the sleeve and then the circular part added. Let's do that. So first I will lower this line by 2.5 centimeters. Next, I will create this internal ellipse. So it looks like it's 5 centimeters. The center of the circle is 5 centimeters below the top notch. So I will add some points and add my center. And then create the internal ellipse with a radius of 2.5 centimeters. Great, that's part done. This point here is extended to the left by 4 centimeters. Let's add the perpendicular line, 4 centimeters long, 5 centimeters up here, and 3 centimeters here. And now we need to create the circular part. So it starts at these points here and then continues all the way up. I will do it with the curve tool. Go all the way up to the top, curve all the way to the left, and all the way to the right, and then fix it to make sure it's not so triangular looking. So let's just give it a slight curve here and here, a little bit there, and a little bit here, like this. Great. The second step is done. Now we're ready for the step 3. Here's the step 3 in the book, and we see that the sleeve has been developed further. So it's no longer this top part of the sleeve, this elbow dart and all other bits and pieces that we need to build. So I'll go back to our original draft here because we have more lines and it's just easier this way. So I'll just make a little copy of that and see what we have. First, we see that it has been unwrapped, so to speak. So there are 2 distances here. This is at the elbow and 2 to the right. And we can start with this right side at this point. So this distance equals this distance. Let's measure it. 598, and we can create the same one here, 598. At the bottom, this distance equals this one, but this distance is from 2 centimeters, so this center line has moved 2 centimeters to the right. Let's do that. We'll take this point and move it by 2 centimeters. And now we see, let's extend that. This is where it intersects with the bottom of the sleeve. So I'll split it. No, I'll add the point to intersection. I'll add point here. And now I can measure this distance here. So it's 501. But we need to mirror it. So it's exact copy of this line. So I'll just copy it and mirror it right here. But of course we need a bit more room, so let's do that. Right here. And now we can join these points and we'll get the right side of the sleeve. 1, 2, and 3. Great. Now let's talk about this other side. So what we have here is a dart. First of all, it looks like the center of the dart is a continuation of this angled line. So I will continue this line here through the point, through this point, and down to create this center of the dart line. After this, I need to take this pattern piece here and reflect it against this center of the dart line. Let's make sure the center of the dart is actual center. So I will take this pattern piece and reflect it against this center of the dart line. Now all we have to do is extend this line to make sure that it intersects with the elbow line and join these points. And now we have the unwrapped sleeve. One little thing is that we have to lower the elbow dart by 2 centimeters. Like this. So the next step is to create this kind of pattern piece. We see that all we need here really is this circular bit. So I will copy that, and also this internal circle. Oh, we don't need that actually. I'll copy this and I place it here. No, I can't. Hold on. I'll copy this and I place it here. After this, I need to offset this by exactly the same amount as the distance between the head and the first line. So I'll just measure this, and it's 418, and I offset this line. Great. So next step is to do this. I will move this out of the way. So I will first of all trace my pattern piece because I'll need to have it cut out later. So let's just do that quickly. right here. And I don't need really any internal lines here, so I'll just delete them all. And then I'll put it back onto this piece. So I need to cut it and spread it. So first of all, the internal lines. And then I'll cut it. After this, I'll spread them in such a way that the outline touches the point right there. Same with the right piece. This way. Great. Now I will copy this piece back out. Actually, I just move it back out like this. And I will create one single pattern piece from this. Just the usual merging way. Create something we can merge. Merge the pieces. Get rid of all the unnecessary points. Merge again. And put it back to even out the lines here. Okay, so the curve at the top. And of course, a couple of lines here that we need as well. It looks like we need the internal ellipse, so I'll just copy that on top. And the lowered bicep line, so that's from here. Another is the elbow line. The vertical line, so that's like coming from here. Let me just do that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and this line as well. Great. Now I can take this pattern piece out and finish off these lines. Fantastic. So what's next? Next is the cutting lines. We see that each side of the circle is divided by 8. We'll do that. Get rid of some points here and divide this into 8. And same with this side. And now we can draw the cutting lines. Okay, and now we have to continue them out until the edge. Good, these are done. These will have to be shortened to finish at the internal line. Like this. So now let's cut the sleeve. We need to cut out this hole. And we need to cut here. We need to cut along this line here. So here we are. And then it looks like we need to place these pattern pieces in such a way that they are on the same level, first of all, and these lines are on x-axis. So let's rotate these, say clockwise 90 and anti-clockwise 90. And then make sure that this one is exactly x-axis. So 1 and 2 here. And also make sure that they're on the same level. So to make sure we have the same level, I will switch on my guides and just place one here and adjust this. Alright, so this pattern now, this will have to be spread open, cut. Great. Now we have all the separate pattern pieces. So this pattern piece will have to be spread in a certain way. As we can see in the reference here, they don't tell you how much the distance is in each of these cuts. However, we see that this pattern piece here, which is this one, is placed in such a way that this distance between the corner and horizontal line is 2.5 centimeters. That gives us the clue to how much to spread the whole sleeve by. Although here it says you can spread it as much as you want depending on your fabric and your preference, etc. But I would like to spread it exactly this way. So I'll take this pattern piece here and I will rotate it by 90 degrees and place it here. Next, will need some sort of guide to tell me where 2.5 centimeters is. So I'll just create an ellipse with 2.5 centimeter radius. And then I will rotate this pattern piece in such a way that this outer point touches the ellipse. And then when I right click, I get the number, the degrees of this angle that I rotated this pattern piece by. 15.2 degrees. This is significant because, let's talk geometry here. If we rotate it first by 90 degrees and then by further 15.2 degrees, then it means that altogether we rotated it by 105.2 degrees. Now that means that this half of the sleeve have to be rotated by 105.2 degrees divided by a number of cuts. And if you multiply it by 2, taking into consideration this pattern piece and this one, this will be 210.4 degrees. And how many cuts? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cuts. Which means every single part will have to be rotated by 1402 degrees, or 14 if you will round it up. Let's do it. I'll take this half here. Actually, no. One more thing, because this cut is spread into two, so this side is rotated by half of our rotation, so 7 degrees here. So I will take the whole lot here. And I will rotate it by 7 degrees. Next, 14 degrees. Then I'll do this side. And now these pieces also have to be rotated at 14 degrees. But I will rotate the whole thing instead. Like this. And then I will place this pattern piece exactly the same way. Okay, let's rotate it. And place it like this. Okay, so now we have this piece. This is first part. After this, we'll need to spread it more in here. But what I will do in the meantime, I will trace this. Here we are, the sleeve. Clone it as a pattern. What's this? Okay, fine. Then I'm gonna put it back on and trace those lines. Next step. Next, we will need to cut this pattern here. I think I wouldn't mind straightening it out slightly here as well. Now we need to cut and spread in these in these 5 places by 6 centimeters. Like this. So now I have to spread this sleeve by 6 centimeters at each part. This is how I'll do it. First I'll move it by 3 centimeters to the left, 6 centimeters. Then I will take these pieces and move them aside and offset this by 6. Then I'll take this one and offset it by 6 again. And now we can merge these pattern pieces. And I'll do the same thing here. Here's the pattern. Now I will clean it up a bit. So let's try sewing the sleeve on. This is the right sleeve. So this is the back, sewn to the back of the bodice, and this is the front, sewn to the front. like this. These two sewn as well, and this part is sewn to this, and this part is sewn to this. Now let's try and see if we can place it. We can't. This is the best we can do. So I'll just reset to the arrangement and place it manually. Switch off those points, rotate and place. Good. So let's temporarily switch off all sewing but these ones, just to make sure that nothing gets tangled up. So I will deactivate this and this. Let's put it on. Add a bit of body to make it straighten out a bit better. And see. Okay. Here it is. So now I have to rotate it in the right direction to place it around the arm. Let's just give it a bit more oomph. Okay, let's see. So this part, I will add pins to this and this part. Now we'll be able to move them easier. So this one, I'll rotate, bring closer to this side. And this one, this way, almost. Like this. Let's get them closer together. Get another pin somewhere here to drag the sleeve out. Another one here. And now we can sew things. Great. Here it is in place. Let's sort this thing. As usual, we'll put elastic in. And make it a bit smaller. Get rid of the strengthening and see. So there's one thing here that I remember, that at this part here the sleeve wasn't really gathered. So what I'll do is just put little point 2 centimeters away from the edge approximately. Remove elastic from here. And just to give it a bit of body to see. Okay, we need a bit more, so I'll give it maybe 15. Great, that looks nice. Next, I would like to put in a casing. That is 81 and 1 centimeters tall or high. And I will put it in like this. That of course cancels our elastic here, so I will switch this one off and put this on. Like that. Let's make another one. Just like this. Okay, and here it is. The sleeve is ready. If you like, you can put a bow here or leave it as is. I think it's nice and can be used for special occasion dresses. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.